Alright, hello guys from wherever you're watching and welcome back to the channel. So, we're approaching summertime, which is the time of the year that everyone wants to get lean. Guys wants to have those six-pack abs and girls want to have that thin, tiny waist. So when they go out to the beach, they look good in front of all their friends. And you probably go on Google and look up your favorite celebrity's meal plan, their diet, and you try to stick to it, and week after week you find that those pounds are not coming off. You're looking in the mirror and seeing that you still have the fat in those places that you don't want to have them in. And this is because you fall off the wagon. You don't stick to your diet as you should, and you know that you're messing up, but you tell people, I don't know why I'm not losing weight. So consistency is the main point of the game in losing weight and losing fat and just having an overall better appearance. So just to let you know who I am, I graduated with my bachelor's in nutrition and dietetics and currently finishing my master's, which I have 2 semesters left, so can't wait for that to be over. But today I'm going to give you some tips, tricks, strategies of how to stick to a diet. It does not matter if you have the best diet in the world. If you can't stick to it, like, it's better than, it's not good at all. Let's just say that. Alright, so number 1. I actually wrote them down in a list so I won't go off on a tangent. Eat foods that you love. This is a very underrated one. So, what is the point of eating foods that you hate and you have to dread every day? Do you think that you're going to be consistent with that? You think you're going to want to eat those same foods every day? Of course not. That's why throughout the week, Monday through Friday, you probably follow your diet, and on the weekend you go crazy. You eat a bunch of junk food, and you find that all that hard work that you did from Monday to Friday is completely wiped out from Saturday and Sunday. So eat foods that you love. For example, I don't like green beans. So do I have green beans in my diet? No. There's certain pickles. I hate pickles. If you put pickle on a burger, the taste is so strong, it basically turns into a pickle burger. I don't know how anyone likes pickles. But that's just me. So I'm not going to have pickles in my diet. I have foods every day that I love, which are acai bowls, vegetable bowls that I make myself, oats, sweet potatoes, tofu. I'm just mentioning a couple foods, and that's how I'm consistent with my diet, because I follow the same foods that I like every day, which ties into my second point, is to eat somewhat of the same foods every day. Once you know how many calories are in something, how many grams of fat are in a certain food, it's not bad to eat like the same foods every day. Obviously, you don't have to have every single meal the same as every other day, but have a couple meals in your head of what you like to make. Just know how many calories are in them, how many grams of fat, protein, yada yada yada, and structure your foods to have a repetitive cycle. That way you don't have to use as much brain power to see, oh, this new food, how many calories is in it, how many grams of fat. So now the other tip is to chew slower. You'd be surprised how fast people eat. I notice it in my dad, especially, that he eats as if the food is gonna run away from him. He eats like as if he's in prison and another inmate is trying to take something from his tray. It's good to take at least like 2 to 3 minutes before you eat and relax. And I think it has to do also with society, that it's a high-paced society, and we have anxiety on top of us, stress from every day, and we bring that with us when we eat, and we eat it as fast as we can. We try to shovel the food down our mouth. It's good to chew slower because it does a few things. One, it breaks the food down to smaller particles, and it is easier on your digestive system. And 2, it gives your brain time to send the signal from your stomach to your brain that, hey, I'm full. I don't need as much. I don't need as much food. Once you're eating too fast, it's too late once your brain finds out that you're full, and that's why sometimes like in Thanksgiving, once people eat fast, once it hits them, they're very very full. And yeah, just chew slower and you'll find that you'll eat less. All right, tip number 3: drink water. So this is very important because most of the times that people think that they're hungry, they're actually dehydrated. So once you drink water, it occupies space in your stomach, which again signals your brain that you're full and don't need as much food as if you're completely dehydrated. So try to always have a water bottle on you. I like these refillable water bottles that I see in the gas station, that they're made out of like steel, I think. And any local what are those called, water fountains, I just refill them there. So once you're thirsty, it's already too late. That means you're already like somewhat dehydrated. So try to not stay thirsty and drink at least a gallon of water a day. And by at least, I mean the bare minimum should be a gallon. You should aim to drink way more water than that, and you'll find it'll be easier to stick to your diet because you're not as hungry, and it will probably alleviate some of those cravings that you get late in the night. All right, so exercise and do cardio. This is probably a given, but when you work out, weight training, let's say, it gives you better nutrition partitioning. So what that means is that the nutrients go to the muscle, since you have stimulated them throughout your workout, that when you eat, the nutrients have a better how should I say, delivery system to the muscles, as if you wouldn't have done weight training. And when you do cardio, apart from it giving you endorphins and making you feel good, you actually burn more calories throughout the day, which gives you a higher allowance of calories that you can eat throughout the day. So yeah, just think of it as an allowance, that when you're a kid you have a certain amount of money that you could spend in a day. The same thing with a calorie allowance. So you have to know your height, your weight, how active you are, and then you have to get what's called a TDEE, which is a total daily energy expenditure. And that's fancy words for how many calories you should eat throughout the day. You want to eat in a slight deficit of those calories, and day after day, that's how the fat will come off. It actually is, fat is actually released as heat, because when you breathe out, it's actually heat that's being emitted from the body. So exercise and do cardio so you can stick to a diet more, because it allows you to eat more food. And it reduces cravings, because when you're exercising and doing cardio, what are you not doing? You're not eating. So it actually also decreases the time of the day that you could get bored and eat, because sometimes people eat when they're bored. All right. Number 6, eat more protein. So this is very important as well, because when you eat more protein, one, it makes you less hungry because it occupies it's the most satiating, which means that it keeps you fuller longer than, let's say, chips or fats. Protein is the macronutrient that keeps you fullest the longest, and it also has it's the most thermogenic, which means that your body actually requires energy to digest protein. So you're actually burning calories while you're trying to digest protein. Obviously, don't overdo it and eat way above your calories, but that's another benefit of sticking to your diet. I find diets that are very high in carbohydrates, it is harder to stick to because you don't feel as full. The name of the game when in any diet is to feel full with less food. So that, for example, vegetables, proteins, like eggs, fish, meat, tofu, all of these are proteins that protein powder. You could put some protein powder in some oats, and that's better than, let's say, like a Cliff Bar. So eat more protein. All right, this is a little controversial one. Try intermittent fasting. So it's weird because in university they speak against fasting because they say that it could cause eating disorders. But in my personal, in my opinion, I think that fasting is a good tool to eat less calories throughout the day and to stick to a diet. So people say breakfast is the most important meal of the day. You can't forget your breakfast. Let's analyze that. The word breakfast in itself means break fast. So you're just choosing to break your fast at a later part of the day. So I don't follow any specific timeline of when I should eat. I just try to delay my first meal as far as possible. And when I feel a little bit hungry, I would have a banana, delay it a little farther, and then have my first meal. So this will probably be around 3 or 4. And then I'll have a meal that is high in protein and has some vegetables in them. And then before my workout, I'll have some carbs. So yeah, intermittent fasting is a good way to stick to a diet. You could also try having black coffee in the morning because that will suppress your appetite, and sparkling water. I actually learned this tip from a channel named Kino Body, so I'm not trying to claim it as if it's my own. And yes, intermittent fasting could be a good tool to eat less calories. Alright, so number 8 is get good sleep. So this one's super important. It actually took me till last year to know how important this one is. So when you get bad sleep, your body produces more of a hormone called ghrelin and leptin. So these are hormones that make you even hungrier, and they provoke cravings like sugar cravings and salt cravings. So sleep obviously does a lot of functions in the body, like it repairs muscle tissue from working out, but it also is super important with your appetite. So if you find that you're sleeping irregularly throughout the day, you are more prone to veering off on your diet than if you would get good sleep. I try to get at least 8 to 10 hours of sleep a day. I know 10 hours is like, that's a lot, but I'm serious about my sleep. Personally, I take up magnesium before going to bed, and I find that gets my sleep on point. I take a cold shower before going to sleep. I darken my room. I put an audiobook on because the audiobook helps me fall asleep, and I spray my bed with lavender as well. So I take my sleep really seriously, and as you should too, if you want to stick to your diet. Alright, this one sounds like an obvious one, is limit sugary foods. So the reason why I put this one on the list is obviously when you eat sugary foods, they have a lot of calories. But it actually turns into a downward spiral, because the more sugary foods that you eat, the more you're going to crave them. And then the more you crave them, the more willpower you're going to have to use on your diet just to stick to it every day. So we want to not use willpower and use discipline, and just use willpower when you have to, but you don't want to rely on it. So any situation that you could decrease the amount of willpower that you would have to use is the best. Don't even have it in your house. Try, if you can, don't buy foods or to go to the grocery store when you're hungry. That's a big no-no. And yeah. Alright, so 10 is to be patient. So being patient, as DJ Khaled will say, is a major key into losing fat. Reason being is because most people think that fat loss is going to be a sharp decline down of your body fat going down, and it doesn't work like that. Everyone wants to get super lean and shredded in 2 weeks, and if you rush it, you're actually going to lose muscle, because sometimes you're going to employ a super huge caloric deficit of 500 to 700 calories, which is, well, it is efficient. It'll get you lean fast, but you're going to lose muscle, and it's also going to slow your metabolism in the long run. So in the long run, it's better to have a slight caloric deficit for months and months on end, and you'll squeeze out more fat as if you would try to rush it. So And it's good to make changes along the way as well. If you find that a certain food makes you bloated, it's all kind of like a like a science experiment. The way that you implement something, you see the result and how it affects you, because every food affects people differently. So don't let people tell you otherwise. If you notice that I eat, for example, for myself, when I eat sweet potatoes, I tend to fart a lot and I get bloated. With other people, that doesn't happen. So I still eat sweet potatoes, but if I know I'm going to the beach one day, I'm just gonna avoid that food. So be patient. It pays off. Alright, so number 11 is don't beat yourself up if you have a bad day. So we are all human here. If anyone is gonna tell you that, oh, I'm perfect on my diet all the time, that person is a liar. Myself, even that I've studied nutrition and dietetics, some days I'll have my ice cream at 2 a.m. and this is normal. Just acknowledge, okay, I shouldn't have done this, but it's fine. I'm not gonna beat myself up. If you fall off the wagon, just stand up, dust yourself off, and just go and follow the same exact protocol the next day. And if you want, you could do a little bit more cardio to just counteract the excess of calories that you did, but just don't do it to an extreme that you do cardio for 3 hours and then you get hungry from that cardio and then you overeat again, and it just turns into a cycle of binging. And don't do the purging that you throw up to counteract the food. Just accept it and just notice that this is part of the human experience, that we're not always perfect on our diet. And not forgive yourself, but just don't take it as hard, and don't think that you have to starve yourself the next day. Just follow the next day as planned, and that's how you stick to a diet. So let me know if you have trouble sticking to a diet.